Every teenage girl should have a vampire boyfriend. No, those aren't my words. Those are the words of Rolling Stone writer Rob Sheffield in an article that came out in 2010 to talk about the new TV show, The Vampire Diaries. But he also ties it into Twilight, kind of the OG of the whole teenage girl with a vampire boyfriend movement. And that line really stuck with me because I'm like, he gets it. He understands. And I'll get into that more. But I have been thinking about this article and this quote lately because this year is the 20th anniversary of when Twilight was published. And just a few days ago, September 30th actually, the 20th anniversary editions were released to bookstores and such. So yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot. I'm Shayne. I write romance and romantic fiction, and today we're talking a little bit about Twilight because of the 20th anniversary. So the reason why this idea of every teenage girl should have a vampire boyfriend really resonated with me is because, particularly when I was thinking about Twilight, and when this came out, I had already read the book and seen the movies that had been released up till then, totally obsessed, just like so many other people. And, you know, the story takes place in high school. It's a teenage girl. She's in high school. And one of the reasons that I and probably a lot of other people connected with the story and connected with Bella is because a lot of us probably had that similar feeling in high school of being awkward and lonely and not really fitting in. Also, I went to high school in the Pacific Northwest. So Stephanie Meyer's descriptions of the Pacific Northwest, on point. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm back there. I wanted that one person that got me, that one person that thought I was pretty and thought I was cool and funny. And we would meet each other between classes and sit together at lunch and, you know, catch up when the day was done and maybe, you know, walk home from school or drive home from school or whatever. And I just wanted that so badly. I was a poor, awkward Black girl in a predominantly white, rich high school. And I was very much the outcast. And yet, oh my gosh, I wanted to fit in so badly. I don't even know if I wanted to fit in. I just wanted connection. I really was just like, if I just had that one person, if I could just find one boyfriend, just that one special person, it would be enough. That would be all that I needed. And I think that's one of the reasons why I really connected with the story of Twilight, because the author really tapped into that really profound sense of alienation and just getting through one day after another, and how amazing it is, and how important it is, and how much it can just change everything to find that one person, which is what Bella found in Edward. So when I read the books, it is like for just a little while, I can kind of go back in time and heal that part of me that was so lonely and so yearning and so miserable, because I can pretend for just a little while that I really did have that special person. And I will also argue that when you're reading and when you're using your imagination, it is as if it's really happening. There is a part of you that is getting healed. So that is why I feel like that line, every teenage girl should have a vampire boyfriend, and you can extrapolate that any way you want. Teenage girl representing sort of that marginalized person in society, and having a vampire boyfriend meaning that one person who is obsessed with you and thinks you're just amazing and is there for you all the time. That's sort of the thing that's really happening there behind that sentence. And just to kind of, you know, illustrate it even more, if we go to the very end of this article that Rob Sheffield wrote about this concept, he says, all these stories, meaning all these stories that are coming out about vampire boys, you know, beautiful vampire boys and the girls that they're obsessed with and who love them. He says, all these stories plug into a classic female fantasy. The heroines are the smart, lonely girls. That's right, smart, lonely girls who think ordinary straight guys are meathead idiots. I mean, facts. So vampire movies are to girls what teen sex comedies are to guys, the dream of getting the unattainable. Maybe the girl can never fully possess her undead suitor, but that's the point. The thrill of the chase never ends. The boy will be in a constant state of feverish pursuit. Yes. Since he can never get you, his attention will never wane, and neither will the drama. So let's go off to Barnes & Noble and get our 20th anniversary edition of Twilight. Done, handled, quick and easy trip on a Friday morning. That's what I like. That was the most efficient trip to Barnes & Noble I've ever took. I was there and back in an hour. That never happens. I guess it helps to know exactly what you're going in for. So, tiny, tiny little mini haul. Like, this bag, it feels so light. It's October 3rd, so that means two things, because this was the week. The new Twilight editions came out, the anniversary. It's the 30th anniversary when this book came out. I mean, what? 30th anniversary. Why do I keep saying 30th anniversary? It's the 20th anniversary. Okay, now I feel a little better. I'm like, it could have been 30 fucking years ago. Why am I getting, I must be getting it mixed up with some other 30th anniversary. Because I thought about it, I'm like, wait, 2005, right? That's 20. Oh, math. Math was never my thing. 20th anniversary. I've been saying 30th all this time. It's the 20th. They had a few different options, and I just went with the OG and sprayed edges. Oh my gosh, amazing. Because, okay, so here's my stack of all of my books that I got, that I've had all this time. And as you can see, my very first book came out, after the movie. Because I'll be honest, the movie was the first time I had heard of the series. So of course, when I bought this book, it was the movie tie-in. And then all my other ones, New Moon and Eclipse and Breaking Dawn and Midnight Sun, were all of the, the original covers with the iconic, symbol. And so I said, you know what? I want to get one that matches, that has the original cover with the apple, iconic, and, matches, will kind of like match the rest of them. I mean, it is a little bit different because it's matte, as you can kind of see the difference here. These are all glossy covers, and this one is matte, a little bit. Do they call it rose petal? I think they call it rose petal, and it kind of has that a little slightly bit of a grippy or suede-like texture. It has a really pretty like pattern on the edges, the top and the bottom. And then on the side, it says, "And so the lion fell in love with the lamb," that classic quote. On the inside, we still have the trees here, but we also have like some artwork here. And then, oopsie, artwork here as well. You can see that. I think you can kind of see it. The truck is such a big part of like the iconography and like kind of Bella's whole journey, I mean. And then this, I think, is the house where she and Charlie live. And I'm very excited. I actually have been rereading. Here's my edition. It must be bigger. Is it bigger lettering? Because it's not as, yeah, the lettering I think here is a little bigger. Because I'm like, this book is a little thicker, but it's probably because the lettering is bigger. So I have been rereading. You know what this means? Now that I have this copy, that means I can annotate this one if I so desire. I've been rereading this, having a good time, still having a good time. I know that it's young adult, and it's been a while since it came out, and a lot of sensibilities have changed, I think, since the book came out, but I'm still loving it. Still, it's like, yeah, there's something magical. There's something about Stephanie Meyer's storytelling. I even remember hearing an editor from, I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was the publisher of Entangled, where she kind of commented on, you know, there's storytelling, and there's, you know, you can talk about perfect prose and keeping everything tight and terse and sparse as far as your wording and all of that. And then there's storytelling, and storytelling is the thing that sucks people in. And there is something about her storytelling that is just its own thing that pulls everyone in. There's a reason why so many people really relate to and love these books. It's the storytelling. So that was, that was quick and easy. They had the other editions there as well. One was the kind of one that reminds me of like some of the new versions or new editions I've seen for like the Jane Austen books, that has that really kind of vintage, really old school, probably trying to harken back to Edward's like original time when he was human, that era. It had that very vintage, old, you know, old school, floral, I don't know, Victorian, I guess. I don't know. I'm really bad with remembering which exact years go to which era. Like, I know the Victorian, and then there's Edwardian, and then I think Gilded. I know that those are like very specific points in time, but I can never remember the exact years. But anyway, there was that one edition that had that feel to it, that old-fashioned floral feel, aesthetic that you're seeing like with a lot of the beautiful reeditions of the Pride and Prejudice books and like the Bronte sisters books. And then they had like a whole collection. I think it's like $130 or more. Like that was also where they had all of these books, including Midnight Sun, in this other kind of really beautiful, sort of just gorgeous floral set and aesthetic. And yeah, that would be nice to have, but I already have all the books. I'm running out of room for things on my bookshelves, and I'm like, you know what I really want the Twilight with the apple on the cover. So that's what I got there. And of course, this is also the day that Taylor Swift's Life of a Showgirl comes out. So as soon as I'm done filming, I'm going to unwrap this baby and put this CD on and get some things done while I listen. It's going to be great. This is shaping up to be a really fun Friday and weekend. So yeah, I know there's a lot of different editions. I ended up just kind of being like overwhelmed by all the different options. I was even a little overwhelmed when there were so many different options when I went to go pick up the Tortured Poets Department book. Let's try that again. Tortured Poets Department CD because I think there were 4 options and they were all tied to whichever like bonus single was on there, and I was like going back and forth, and I said I'm going to get the one with Black Dog. I like the black. I just like the aesthetic of the black and kind of the look of it, and I just had this feeling. I think it was because Black Dog is also the title of a bomb-ass Led Zeppelin song, so I think that was another reason, and also love dogs. So I said, okay, I'm gonna get that one, and then Black Dog was the bonus track that's actually one of the best songs in the whole collection. And so there were a lot of options this time, and I'm like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna wait till the day it comes out, go into the store and pick up my CD, and the choice will be handled for me because I just want the music. So this is the standard one, and I think there's also a poster in here. It is really tricky opening CDs, but let me see if I can pull it off right now with my, can I pull this off with my, here we go. I can edit a lot of this out. Woo! I can't believe I was in and out of Barnes & Noble. I think it's just because I didn't get sidetracked by all the other books, because I said, you know, you got stuff to do, you know exactly what you want, you've been waiting for this. All right, so here is the CD, the front, and then the back. And then there is supposedly a poster in here. Here it is. There's the like fragmented mirror, the fragmented mirror aesthetic on the CD itself, the little mirror shards. I watched a video. I will link the video down below because it's from the channel The Great Literary Rabbit Hole, and she like did this whole literary breakdown between the iconography, the imagery, the names of the songs, and tying it into Hamlet and the whole play. Like she goes through the play and she goes through how she thinks it ties into this CD. It's brilliant. I will link that below. I think that all of us literary and music lover types will really enjoy that. All right, so here are the posters. Here we go. Here's this one. Very bold and moody with the red. The dark red glitter or sequined outfit there. And what else do we have? And then this is just the, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. There's 2 sides. Okay, the one side is the album cover. And then the flip side is the red. And then, of course, there's the booklet with all of the lyrics are laid out in the mirror shards as well. I love that aesthetic. With all the lyrics, which I will, of course, be reading when I get the chance. Okay, that is it for the haul. And I'm going to go do some laundry and get some things done around the house and put on this CD. Just came out of the movie for the Life of a Showgirl CD release party, and it was really cool to see all the behind the scenes stuff and all the work that goes into the videos, and also to get like the story behind the songs. I think that some of the song titles, because you know, the song titles came out and people were speculating on what they were about, and a lot of those songs are actually about something completely different, and I think that's just so cool to flip expectations like that. By the way, I also got the new Taylor Swift CD because that came out the same day that I went to go pick up the Twilight book. And I also went to the movie event, the sort of CD release after party event, shall we say. It's really fun. I love getting sort of the story of the inspiration behind the creation. Three of them stood out to me. One was Opalite. And that one, I do love that song. And for me, the thing that was really cool that she said about that song was, well, first off, I love that gem. Opalite is a man-made imitation of opal. I've always loved opal. Opal is my mother's birthstone. And when I've seen Opalite, I've always loved that too, even though I know it's fake, right? It's imitation, because it's just so beautiful. All those different colors. And she talked about how in her song, Opalite being sort of a man-made thing, in her mind is a metaphor for this idea of creating your own life how you want it, and making your own success, and making your own joy, and making your own happiness. And the idea that it doesn't just happen naturally, the way that opal will naturally occur in the earth, that you can have this sparkly, wonderful life, but you might have to make it yourself. You might have to do it yourself. You might have to create it yourself. And that idea just really resonated with me, because I think sometimes, particularly if you struggle or have had to work really hard for something, it's sometimes easy to either feel a little envious or resentful of people for whom it seems or that you perceive it comes easily, or there might be a feeling of lack because you've had to work so hard, it didn't come easily, there must be something wrong with me because it hasn't come naturally to me. So this idea of, no, it's just as valid, maybe even more so if you've had to work for it, and yes, creating it yourself is just as amazing as having it happen naturally. That idea, I found that really empowering and sort of affirming. Another song, the song Canceled. I really love that song. And I love the idea, kind of the way she described it. I love the idea of having like this sort of like underground party of other people that you bond with because you've all had the experience of being put down or ridiculed or condemned publicly because you were too much, because you stepped outside of what society thinks somebody of your gender or position should do. And I just love that idea of all these sort of like survivors of being attacked for ridiculous reasons, attacked for just being yourself, basically, that you all come together and you have your own sort of support group and celebrate each other. I love that idea. And then the other song that I thought was really funny when she talked about it is Wood. If you've listened to the song, you know what Wood is about. And when she was describing that song, she said, yeah, wood, that's about superstitions, black cats and knocking on wood. That's it. And like a lot of us in the audience were laughing because we're like, yeah, that's it. That's all that song's about. It was just a great time. So one more thing. Speaking of taking it back to Rob Sheffield, who wrote the article about the teenage girl and the vampire boyfriend thing, he's also a huge Swiftie. And he wrote an article about the second song on the CD, Elizabeth Taylor, and talked sort of like he's a huge nerd. So he has all of this like knowledge and information about different things and connections. And he talked about how that song, I think that might be his favorite song on the CD, on the album, and talked about the connection between Taylor Swift and Elizabeth Taylor, particularly the way in which Elizabeth Taylor and all of her marriages, so she was kind of ridiculed and sensationalized and attacked because she had a lot of love affairs, kind of similar to Taylor Swift's experience in the press. And her relationship with Richard Burton was like a huge deal back then. Just everybody was scandalized. But he also talked about, that how Taylor Swift, paid attention. She read like all of this stuff about Elizabeth Taylor and sort of made these connections. And two things I got from that article, like two things that Taylor Swift does that really contribute, I think, to the quality and popularity of her songs and her music, that I think are nuggets that anybody can apply to whatever field or craft that they are in. One is paying attention to the details. Because Rob Sheffield will point out, like, oh, all of these little Easter eggs and all these little nuggets and all these little twists of phrase in her song are interconnected in multiple ways. And he says, you can't ever say she doesn't obsess over the details. And so paying attention to the details, sometimes I think, gosh, I'm spending so long on this one detail or researching this one thing in my story. And I'm like, I could be getting the story done faster if I wasn't obsessing over the details. But now I'm like, no, it's okay to obsess over the details, because even if people don't know consciously, and I see this a lot when I watch breakdowns of stories or movies that really take off, is that people who will analyze them will be, yeah, this writer or this director or this creator paid attention to the details. And even if you're not consciously aware of them, they're resonating on a subconscious level, and that's why they're so effective. So pay attention to the details and know your history. So Taylor Swift, has studied Elizabeth Taylor, has studied other Hollywood icons and their stories and what they went through. And so whatever field that you're in, whatever craft that you're perfecting, know the history of that craft and the history of those who came before you, because not only will it broaden your knowledge and deepen your knowledge of whatever it is that you're doing, but you can look to other people and see what they went through and sort of appreciate, number one, oh, things go through cycles, and what I'm going through is something that people before me have gone through as well. And that can be comforting, but you can also look to what those people did and kind of get ideas of how to navigate it yourself. So those are a couple of things that I think can be helpful for anybody trying to succeed or perfect the whatever it is that they're doing in life. So that's it for now. Until next time. Bye.